intents and purposes, shouldn't be here now. But I still have a moral barometer that I'm not willing to sell out. However, it seems that everybody around me for the last, I don't know, year roughly, uh, they're more than eager to do it, and they seem to get a kind of a perpetual pass to do it, and that seems to be part of this thing too. With the Destiny arc, um, I do tend to agree with you that he kind of started these different slap matches, and then there'd be conflict resolution and this and that, and that's why people tune into daytime TV, and that's why they tune into all sorts of different things. Is they want the drama, the reaction, the solution, the resolution, move on to the next drama, right? This is part of the human condition now.
Yeah, the circus part of the bread and circuses. We always want to be entertained.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not only do we always want to be entertained, but it seems that many of us want to be the people who are entertaining. And that seems to end very poorly for most people. They seem very willing to compromise their morality in order to gain whatever it is that they perceive as some type of internet fame or internet bucks or whatever the hell you want to call it. It's particularly bothersome to me. I stumbled into this arena by complete accident. I for all intents and purposes, shouldn't be here now, but I still have a moral barometer that I'm not willing to sell out. However, it seems that everybody around me for the last, I don't know, year roughly, uh, they're more than eager to do it, and they seem to get a kind of a perpetual pass to do it, and that seems to be part of this thing too.
Well, it's like you talked about, the Faustian bargain. They want to be popular, and so in order to be popular, you slowly start to. It's like getting to Hollywood, right? You go to Hollywood, and it's a completely different culture, right? And slowly but surely, they tell you, well, if you want to be in, you have to do this, you have to believe that, and you can have somebody that really has a good head on their shoulders. Maybe not even like a conservative, but somebody that just has common sense. And they get there into Hollywood and they start to climb the ranks and they get told what to do and what to think. And if you get told what to do and what to think long enough, you actually try to convince yourself that they're right. And you start to try to change yourself mentally and do all these mental gymnastics to justify to yourself personally why you're doing what you're doing. And so you look in the mirror one day and you realize, holy crap, I've become this completely different person. This isn't who I want to be. And hopefully, they get out of it. But a lot of people don't. A lot of people don't, and they just continue to go up the pipeline. Politicians, it happens with them all the time. You get this guy who, wants to go up there and wants to change Washington, believes in draining the swamp, gets up there and the swamp gets their fingers in them and they become, like a Lindsey Graham or somebody like that. There's just a disgusting swamp creature.
Well, and isn't bad behavior rewarded in this space?
It absolutely is. You know, getting drunk and popping pills and going on a live stream, you get a lot of notoriety, maybe a small dip, but you crawl back out of it because once again, there is no bad press. There is only press. As long as your name continues getting out there, as long as you continue to be talked about, then it's not seen as a negative.
Isn't that sick?
It is. It is. And you can look at the same thing with entertainment, with politics, any of that. It's this kind of like hedonistic, self-destructive nature of humanity that's just on display 24/7 for everybody to see. And it's unfortunate that it is that way, but people want to be entertained and they don't care if it's at the personal destruction of somebody else, or whether it's, something good and wholesome. They want to see really anything that tickles their fancy.
Yeah. Do you think, obviously that type of culture is not going to change anytime soon, but there is something to be said for the last man standing, isn't there? People who are able to kind of coordinate themselves in such a way where they don't sell out, they do seem to do fairly well. The ones that I have been following anyway. But that seems to be a rare exception to the rule, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I would say like a guy like PewDiePie never really compromised his morals, right? So he was able
No.
to grow through all of these different things, but he was still fundamentally the same person from the beginning to the end. And a lot of that, I guess you could attribute to the fact that he had such a meteoric rise that he never had to really step to anybody else's tune. He always did his own thing because it's like, he's so large, what are you going to tell him? No. He has so many fans, what are you going to tell him? Oh, sorry, PewDiePie, you can't do this. I mean, he went through the whole controversy with the Fiverr guys or whatever, right? And he came out
Hmm.
of that relatively unscathed. I mean, he lost his
That
like
was
YouTube show.
when he paid like the $5 or whatever, and they held up the Nazi sign or whatever it was.
Yeah, yeah, when they held up
Yeah,
that thing. Yeah.
yeah.
He
That
got
was,
through
I mean,
that.
but that was hilarious. Like they kind of fucked him over on that because that was pretty
It
funny.
really did. Well, the
You
idea
know,
was that he was going to see on Fiverr, like, what could he possibly get away with? Like the crazy things that he could send them and get them to actually do. And that's another whole topic about how we've lost the ability to just be funny and make jokes on the internet and in real life about things that we used to joke about. I mean, there's a reason that so many comedians are getting like canceled or whatever nowadays because you're not allowed to joke about simple things like like gender or race or politics or whatever. It's like, oh, you can't make fun of women because that's misogyny. You can't make fun of homosexuality because that's homophobic. You can't make fun of trans people because that's transphobic. You can't make fun of this race or that race because you're a racist. It's we've we've become so serious and so uptight as a society, and this whole victim complex that everybody wants to be a special snowflake, that we're slowly but surely losing the ability to just enjoy things.
well, satire has always been a way to hold a mirror up to society's more fucked up elements and show them to people in a way that's the least offensive, right? If you take that away, all you're left with is the most offensive way to tell them about their flaws. And doesn't that in the end really breed a lot more conflict?